we're at the point in this offseason where free agency has kind of died down. You know, all the huge names have either been signed or traded to their new teams. You know it's bad when I'm looking on Twitter and the biggest headlines are, you know, where Klay Thompson is going to go, or where Russell Westbrook might bring his talents to this upcoming season. Like, no disrespect, but disrespect. Now, there are still a few names out there, but for the most part, you know, everybody kind of knows why. Like, Peyton Watson's still out there because he wants a lot more money than Denver can give him. And so he's looking for either a sign and trade or something. And then you have Jalen Duren, who isn't re-signed by the Pistons right now, nor is signed by anybody else because he wants $1 billion over the next 5 years for literally serving butt cheeks in the playoffs. But one of the most confusing guys right now that's still available is DeMar DeRozan. When you look at DeMar DeRozan and where he is at in his career, he is in the prime spot for every contender in the league to be clamoring to try and get them on his team. But no, I mean, the only team that we've really seen make any sort of public push for DeMar DeRozan are the Washington Wizards. And while the Washington Wizards have gotten better over this past season and this offseason, you know, they're still not at the point where they're considered a contender in the NBA. So how can a 25,000 point scorer over his whole career, 16th in all-time points scored and 6-time All-Star, not be able to find a home in the NBA twice?
DeRozan shoots it, laces it. Tough shot over the rookie, cashes.
DeMar DeRozan, who hits that.
This just in from the NBA, where the Kings are waiving DeMar DeRozan, making the 6-time All-Star an unrestricted free agent.
This offseason, I don't know that there was a market of teams out there that was eager to match salary on a $26 million player.
But very quickly, before we get in the rest of this video, if you guys enjoy this type of content, all things hoops, all things NBA, please make sure to hit that like button on this video. I would really appreciate it. I love you a long time. And also, if you want to take it a step further, join my community. I would love to have you. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to build a community of people who just love to talk the game of basketball. So if that sounds like you, make sure to hit that subscribe button. But with all that out of the way, let's talk hoops. I feel like I'm getting a lot of deja vu because we were in this same exact position 2 summers ago. DeMar DeRozan was a free agent, and he wanted the same thing he wants now. He wants a starting role on a contender for a hefty amount of change. But DeRozan is running into the same issue that he ran into the last time he was a free agent. Realistically, there's only 3 options. He's either going to take less money to be on a contender, he can take his usual money that he wants on a possible contender middle of the road team, or he can get that huge payday that he wants and basically be on a tank commander for the rest of his career. And what played out 2 summers ago was obviously the money meant more to him than winning, because he was just on the Sacramento Kings, who over the last 2 years have been, no offense Kings fans, abysmal, really. And now I'm sitting here like, okay, is DeMar DeRozan actually a winning player, or is he just a volume scorer at this point in his career? And I think DeMar DeRozan, you know, doesn't want to confront that he might just be a volume scorer, because when you look at DeMar DeRozan's game right now at this point in his career, he just doesn't command the money that he thinks he deserves. You know, first of all, on defense, he can't really defend well. He's not an exceptional defender. He never really was. And at this age, you know, he's having trouble keeping up with the other guys in the league. But then you look at his offensive game and it becomes obvious why nobody really wants DeRozan anymore. Because DeRozan, unfortunately, just plays in the wrong era of the NBA. He is a guy who works solely in the mid-range. And while, you know, I do love that, I am a self-admitted lover of the pull-up mid-range jump shot. I don't give a crap whether it's the most inefficient shot in basketball. It's a beautiful, beautiful shot. And I'm happy that you have players like Jalen Brunson and Cade Cunningham, bringing back that dominant mid-range game. But the thing that separates those two guys from DeRozan is they also have other great aspects of their game. You know, Brunson, his playmaking, his finishing inside, even his three-point shooting. Cade Cunningham, the same thing, his facilitation, his strong finishing inside, and a very underrated defensive game. But then you look at DeMar DeRozan, and literally the mid-range game is the only thing that he brings to the table. And so when the only thing that you're good at is the most inefficient, aspect of scoring that we have in the game today, that's not going to bode well. But that's not even the real issue, because whether DeMar DeRozan's game is fit for this era or not, he is still a good enough player to make an impact and have a role on a contender. What it really comes down to is DeMar DeRozan not understanding what role he actually fits in the NBA anymore, because he thinks he's still the same DeRozan from the Raptors days and the early Chicago Bulls days, where he could be the main guy, the main scorer on a team, and they could win, but he's just not at that point anymore. DeMar DeRozan is at the point in his career where, he's at the ring chasing stage. It's no secret, it's an obvious thing in the NBA that when a guy gets older, in his mid to high 30s and only has a couple years left, they will bounce from team to team, taking friendly contracts to try and win a championship before retirement. But DeMar DeRozan is caught in this situation where he wants his cake and to eat it too. He wants to be a main option on a team and get a huge money deal, but he also wants to be on a contender and try to compete for an NBA championship. And all these contenders are telling him dude, unfortunately, you're just not that type of player anymore. It's already been thrown out that DeMar DeRozan would be an amazing sixth man or an amazing guy off the bench that can come in and lead the bench squad. I already have heard that Golden State and Miami have been interested in giving DeMar DeRozan that role, but obviously they don't want to give him a ton of money to be a bench player or a sixth man. And so, obviously that causes a problem because they're not in the same money range that DeMar DeRozan is. I even saw a couple days ago that Miami wants to bring him in on a minimum contract, but to be a major player on their team, to try and bolster their roster with Giannis and Bam and make a push in the East, but not have to give him so much money. And DeMar DeRozan just unfortunately doesn't seem interested in that. And that right there is where the root of this issue boils down to. DeMar DeRozan just doesn't want to change. Because DeMar DeRozan in a Twitter post recently, basically put it out on the table as plainly and as clearly as possible. He said, "I come as I leave." He's all about the scoring and the money, and he's okay with that. And that's why the Raptors let him go. They traded him for Kawhi Leonard, and obviously that Raptors roster was good enough to win a championship because they did it the next season. They just weren't, good enough to win a championship with DeMar DeRozan leading the team. And then he goes to San Antonio where he doesn't really make any waves. He goes out, he gets his 20 points a night, but the Spurs aren't really anything special in the West. He goes to the Bulls and he has a couple good seasons, but again, the Bulls don't really make a splash. And then he goes to the Kings, where now the Kings, were one of the worst teams in the NBA over the last couple years, but he gets to be the main option on that team. And so again, DeMar DeRozan is in this situation where he can take less money than he thinks he deserves to be a secondary piece or a sixth man on a legitimate contender. Or, he can take the money that he wants to move up the scoring board more and more towards the end of his career on a tank commander, and that can be the rest of his career. But the reality of the situation is DeMar DeRozan is not a bad player. The reason that nobody wants him isn't because he can't bring value to a team anymore. It's because he's a great player for a role on a contender, but it's a role that he doesn't want for a price that he doesn't want. Let me know what you guys think about this whole DeMar DeRozan situation. Do you think by next season he'll accept a 6-man or a bench role on a contender like Miami or Golden State? Or do you think he's just going to be a tank commander for the rest of his career and chase that money and chase his position on the scoring list? Lastly, if you guys made it to the end of the video, first of all, thank you guys so much for watching. But second of all, you guys made it to the end of the video. You obviously enjoyed it. So make sure to hit that like button on your way out. If you guys want to take it a step further, hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you as a part of my community. But that's really all I got for today, guys. So as always, peace and love.